Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of my house renovation project. So this project in general was meant as a small project. So we started in the year 2018 and our idea was to be ready within maybe 3 to 6 months, with everything. But then the situation escalated a little bit and the house was a little more broken than we expected. And you can see this is from today, 2022. We are still not ready. And this is why I started this video project a few years ago. So I recorded everything I did here on the private building site on video. And now I will take you with me on the complete journey. So today we will start with the origin, with a little house tour of the original state of the house, and week by week I will release a new video and I will take you with me on the complete progress and of this general house renovation. So if you like this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. What I say every week, one new video about the renovation of my house and from time to time some other stuff. So I would say sit back and enjoy today's video. Okay guys, first things first, so I will first show you the entire property and also the different buildings on it, so you can get a better overview about everything is set up here. Let's start with the main building, the 180-year-old half-timbered house. This was then extended about 120 years ago by a house extension made out of field stones. This was a common way to build at that time. And about 45 years ago, there was the last house extension. This was made simply out of perforated bricks. And these three parts, the half-timbered house, the fieldstone house and the brickstone extension, together result in a residential building in which, we would like to live later. And for a better overview for you, I also show you the layout of the building. So in this dirty yellow, this is the half-timbered house. In the green, you can see the fieldstone extension, and in red, we have the perforated brick extension. So whenever I use these terms, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, then let's move forward with the next building. This is also a little additional building, also made out of field stones, right next to the residential building. So we do not have real plans for the future, what we will do, and we also need to discuss our plans together with our building authority here in our country, because we need to check what we are allowed to do with this building. So actually, this building is vacant, and I only have my little studio in it where I can create some of my videos. And a few meters away we have a small log cabin. I would say it is a typical German garden house or garden shed, where you can sit down and relax with your friends, drinking some beer, having a barbecue or something like that. But unfortunately, this garden house is also in a bad shape, so it needs some effort and some time before we really can use it. And last but not least, we have this quite big barn here on our property. And this is a really nice one. It is about 60 to 80 years old. And in comparison to the rest of the buildings, this is in a quite good shape. And you will definitely see this in the future videos. I'm also a little bit crazy about cars and stuff. And this is why I already realized a small car workshop for my private usage here. And this barn also gives me the possibility to have some secured place where I can park some of my machines and also some of my cars. Okay, that was the rough overview about the property and the buildings. In total, this property is about 3,500 square meters. For German conditions, I would say it's quite big. So if you compare it to the normal properties in residential areas here in Germany, you have typical sizes from maybe 400 square meters up to 600 square meters. So you can say 3,500 is quite big property for German conditions. Okay, then let's take a look into the first video footage I recorded from the building, and the only video footage in which we can see the building in its original state. Yeah? So this is one day after we bought this house, so after we paid for it and we received the keys for the house and the start of our renovation. Yeah? At that point, we believed we simply need to renovate a little bit. You see the old bathroom, so the toilet and the sink, the colors are not so up to date, so we simply wanted to do an update here in the bathroom and also maybe the floors and so on. But in general, our plan was to leave everything as it is. Yeah, you can see this is the old half-timbered house from the inside. So in Germany, we call this the Dele or Diele. This is the main room of the house, and this should be our living room in the future. And attached to this half-timbered hall, I would call it, we have this narrow but quite long room. And this was meant to become the new office for my wife somewhere in the future, but you can also see that it is a little bit outdated from the ceilings and the floor and walls and so on, and also needs to be renovated. So we can walk through the half-timbered hall to the other side. And there we have a quite big dining room, and we will divide this one big long room into two separate ones. On the one hand, a smaller dining room, and this here will become my future office or gaming room, I would call it. And what you also see is here a quite old night storage heater. This was, I would say, usual way to heat in Germany in the 1980s. Okay, then let's move on. In the next room to the dining room, we have the kitchen. This is also quite big, and you can see the previous owner left us the whole kitchen equipment behind. This is also from the 1980s, I would estimate. But you should notice, even if the design may be a little bit old school, it was, most of the parts were handmade. So this is also quite nice. So also you see a wood stove here, which was meant to heat the whole house. A water boiler for the hot water supply, and also two additional rooms which can be used for the storage of food or stuff like that. From the kitchen you have direct access to the garden, which is quite nice, especially in the summer. And what is really cool is this one here. This is a house, an internal house intercom. Quite cool. You have direct connection to the barn, to the upper floor, and here to the kitchen. Then let's move forward to the last undiscovered part of the house. So here we have a small corridor. This is connected to some sort of utility room, I would call it. And you also see a door. This is the door which leads you access to the basement of the building. And on the other side of the corridor, you also see a small toilet. This is also the third toilet in this house in total. Like the other toilet we saw on this floor, this is also a little bit outdated or old school, and we definitely planned to renovate this. So then we have a door which leads to the back of the property. We will come to this a little bit later, also to the next building you can see here. This I will show you everything a little bit later. We can move back into the house, and that's for this part of the building and more or less also for the ground floor. We also have here a small door which also leads to the outside, to the front of the building. And here I can show you something really special. On the one hand, of course, the barn and my car is parking in it. We will also come to this later. And this here is really interesting and really special. For German half-timbered houses, you can see the historical lettering here in this archway. This is completely made of oak and completely handmade 180 years ago. And everything what is written down and drawn on this archway has some special meaning depending on the region and the house and all stuff. So if you're interested in such historical things from German half-timbered houses, I can come back to it later and explain it in maybe some other video. So let's take a walk through the complete ground floor for the last time in its original shape and move on to the first floor of the building where the rest of the rooms are located. So let's climb the stairway and get up. So about this stairway, this was also in many parts handmade in the 80s, I would estimate. But if you take some close picture, you will see it's quite a nice work, and I definitely will try to rescue and to restaurate this really nice stairway. Yeah, okay, then we are on the first floor here in the staircase of the building, and then we have another corridor which leads us to all the rooms. Yeah, right beside the staircase we have another bathroom. This time it's not only a toilet, you see there are two sinks this time. We have a nice blue color for the sinks, for the bathtub, and also for the toilet. Really 1980s in Germany. I don't know if it's any kind in other country, but in Germany this was quite usually for this time. But you may notice that this first floor of this building is in a quite good shape. Maybe a little bit old school, but not too bad. Okay, maybe with exception of this night storage heater you see, this definitely needs to be replaced. But the rest seems to be okay, not so much effort needed to live here. So this was meant to be a kid's room, or one of the kids' room. We have two kids, so this should be one of the kids' room. And if we walk through the corridor, this will lead us directly to the parents. This would be the parents' bedroom. Also, yeah, quite outdated, a night storage heater and some old wooden ceiling panel stuff. This was also quite usual in the German 80s, but a quite nice view on the barn. And yeah, as I said, at that time we planned to have here our parents' bedroom. And right next to it, we have possibility to use this small room as a second kid's bedroom. And exactly like the rest of the rooms, also this room is equipped with these nice wooden panels and also an ancient night storage heater. Okay, then let's move forward. So actually we are still located in the upper floor of the half-timbered house. And through this small corridor we come to the house extension. So here on the right and on the left you can see two additional rooms. These are directly the first floors of the fieldstone and also the brickstone extension from the half-timbered house. And as you also recognize, I already started with the renovation in this part of the building. I removed the panels from the ceiling and from the walls and stuff and checked the insulation behind. So this was done in the whole building with mineral wool. And as you might know, such old mineral wool is known as carcinogenic. So this is not so nice to have in the house. I also opened the floor to check the insulation, and there was also everywhere mineral wool. So it's like always, the plan we had for the renovation of this house was quite outdated one day after we started with the renovation. And the new plan then was to replace all these old mineral wool against non-harmful and natural insulation for a definitely better indoor climate. Okay, then let's perform a small time skip 3 weeks into the future, and you can see I continued my work. I removed many of the chipboards which were screwed to the walls and the ceiling and so on. Also, I declared war on the mineral wool. Of course, I didn't know that at the time, but over the next weeks and months I was supposed to remove more than 60 cubic meters mineral wool from the house. Yeah, so I can tell you this stuff was nearly everywhere, and you see it on the pictures. So apologize for that. So I don't have video footage of everything. So here at that point I only can show you some pictures to give you at least a sense of what I had to fight, what a mess I had to fight here against in this upper floor of the building. And that was not everything. You can see here and there is also some styrofoam. That was the next problem. So not only mineral wool, so also in addition there are many synthetic insulation stuff. And you see also some nice beehives. They were hidden between the walls, and I found, I think, 3 of them in total. So this all comes together, and but a few weeks later, as you can see, I was more or less the winner of this war. I tidied up this section, but this was only one part of the building, so I need to continue in the other parts too. And like I said before, at the end there will come together more than 60 cubic meters of mineral wool. And of course, a few dead animals too. I think this is something usual if you are starting opening ceiling walls and stuff, that you found some animals who supposed to live here a few maybe years ago. And here you see the staircase with some special sort of mineral wool. There is some aluminium laminated on it, but yeah, the end of this mineral wool is the same like the rest. I packed this everything in bags together, making it ready for the waste disposal site. Problem in Germany, I don't know how it is in your country, but in Germany it is really expensive to dispose this kind of garbage. Yeah, to dispose mineral wool in Germany is quite expensive. I think this is related to the carcinogenic nature of the mineral wool. But it was not only my fight against the mineral wool in the upper floor. You can see a few weeks later we also removed the complete screed from the ground floor. This was necessary because we found some serious issues with the timber frame. So you can also see that below the screed there is some styrofoam. This was simply meant as an insulation against the ground. But those of you who might have some experience with older houses, and especially with timber framed or wood houses, know that this is simply always a bad idea to bring synthetic materials together with natural materials. And this is also the issue in our house. So at this point we simply saw the tip of the iceberg, and there was definitely more to come. And you can also see it here in the video that we removed many wall panels and other stuff to get a better overview about all the issues that were more or less made or built by the pre-owners of the house. So as I maybe already mentioned, this house was restorated 40 years ago in the 1980s. And this is the result of the restoration in the 1980s. You can see here the floor. This is the original floor. These bricks are the original bricks which were laid 180 years ago. And the previous owners had more or less the idea to bring this together with some modern stuff. So modern for the 1980s, of course. To bring this together with less effort as possible to have more or less modern house out of this old historical building. And you can see the result, because this is not simply working. You cannot combine styrofoam on the floor panels, for example, with the old timber frame. And the result you can maybe imagine here in this really bad video is that the timber frame is really seriously damaged. And it's not only the timber frame, so we found many other things which were built completely wrong by the pre-owners. And you can see here, for example, the floor, and you may recognize it is wet. So this is simply water which is pushed from the bottom through the stones, and this is why it's wet. And when you now put here some styrofoam or in general some synthetic materials on it, then you make it even worse. And during the following weeks we have to perform much more demolition work to remove all the stuff which the previous owners renovated in this house 40 years ago. And I can show you a good or more or less bad example of what is happening if you are trying to renovate such timber frame houses but not the correct way. You might remember this nice oak arch on the outside, and this is what's left of it. Really unfortunate, I would say. This was not we were not able to see this from the beginning, and now with the removal of the terrace stones, for example, we can see all the issues on the timber frame. And I think we will continue with this here in the next video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and that was it with today's video. So the little house tour of 2018. So by the way, what you can see here in the background, this is everything what is left of the kitchen you already saw today. So in the next video we will start with the work of I think it's more or less a time lapse of the year 2019. So I will show you everything we started and why it escalated here or there, and yeah, how the journey begins from our side, yeah, so more or less, yeah. So I would say thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope we can see us in the next video again. Bye bye.